Pro-lifers call on Congress to pass the Conscience Protection Act.
Healthcare, my friends, is about saving life. It is about eradicating disease. It's about mitigating disability, not taking the lives of unborn children.
Congress needs to act now. It is time for this compassionate, reasonable, and modest bill to be voted on so that we can allow millions of Americans who believe, as I do, in the sanctity of life.
Those comments came during a press conference hosted by Representative Chris Smith on Capitol Hill Wednesday. The Conscience Protection Act would bar the federal government and any state and local governments that receive federal funding from taking action against healthcare professionals who conscientiously object to performing, paying, or participating in any procedure they find morally objectionable. One nurse at the press conference tells us how she has fought against discriminatory healthcare policies.
They wanted all of the staff in same-day surgery to assist in the abortion. And we didn't have any choice. They just told us that it's either you assist or we'll just have to either relocate you someplace else in the hospital.
Pro-life leaders want Congress to pass the Conscience Protection Act as part of the appropriations bill for the 2018 fiscal year. For reaction and more analysis, we are joined by our trusted pro-life expert. Mallory Quigely is Communications Director for the Susan B. Anthony List. Mallory, welcome back.
Thanks for having me on, Catherine.
Absolutely. So what protections are in place for pro-life healthcare professionals right now? Are there any?
Well, not many. We do have the Weldon Amendment, which is a federal amendment, which basically it would punish states for discriminating against pro-life individuals or healthcare entities. But under the Obama administration, for 8 years, the Weldon Amendment was left alone and was not actually enforced. That's why we need the Conscience Protection Act.
So what would the Conscience Protection Act actually do, and do you expect it will pass?
Well, it would create a private right of action for both the individual healthcare professionals and the entities that they work for, basically to fight back against discrimination that they may face in their states. And by passing this law, it would basically outlast any administration. So it wouldn't matter if a pro-abortion administration comes in and decides to once again stop enforcing the Weldon Amendment. It would create a recourse for these victims perpetually. And we certainly do expect that it could come into law. This is something that is a priority of the president. It's something that Speaker Ryan feels very strongly about. But that's why these nurses are in town this week to talk to members of Congress and make sure that they're including it in the appropriations legislation coming up in December.
Mallory, you are deeply involved in the pro-life movement. How does your conscience facilitate your work?
Yeah, well, there definitely is like a certain insult and injury to it, isn't there? If you wake up every morning and your whole mission is to fight for the protection of life, and then we have things like the HHS mandate, or imagine being like one of these nurses who's taken an oath to cure and to help and to protect life. So I think that conscience is so important, and it definitely drives me in my work at Susan B. Anthony List. But you don't have to just work at a pro-life organization or be a pro-life healthcare professional to claim that conscience right.
Absolutely, and to claim that as part of your identity that you're pro-life. You mentioned the administration's support of this. We saw recently them grant more protection to pro-life groups such as the Little Sisters of the Poor from the contraceptive HHS mandate. What signals have we seen that they do support more conscience protection?
Well, that was certainly a huge example, huge indicator of the president's commitment to conscience and allowing a religious freedom, allowing us to live out our beliefs in the public square. And so we know that he supports this, but there really is only so much that the administration, the executive branch, can do. Okay. It really is important that Congress take action and give this private right of action to these current victims and any victims that may come along in the future. Of course, we hope not, but give them a means to fight back.
And so we want them to put this in the appropriations bill for next year.
Yes, and that is all going to come to a head right at the beginning of December. So it's important that over the course of the next few weeks we stay engaged.
Absolutely. Mallory Quigely, thank you so much.
My pleasure.